me start by saying that it is a fact that men's testosterone levels have been dropping by 1% every single year since 1980. The average man's testosterone in 1985 was 650 nanograms per deciliters, and now in 2025, it is only 430 nanograms per deciliters. Guys, that is a 33% drop in testosterone in just 40 years. That is absolutely wild. There is something that is poisoning men. And in this presentation, I will teach you exactly how to combat this and how I nearly doubled my testosterone levels completely naturally. Okay, so I went from being 390 nanograms per deciliters testosterone to over 600 nanograms per deciliters testosterone. And you can see here in the image how much of a difference it actually makes to how you look. And I'll teach you exactly how you can do the same. So why does this even matter? Well, testosterone is literally the hormone that makes you a man. It makes you dominant and it makes you confident. When you feel intimidated or lower than other men in social situations, it's purely because your T is lower than theirs. If you are low in confidence, there's no hack like shaking someone's hand a certain way or doing some sort of technique to become confident. The only way to increase your real confidence as a man is to increase your T levels. When you increase your testosterone levels, everything changes because testosterone makes you confident, it makes you stronger in the gym, more assertive and dominant as a man, and ultimately also more attractive to women. As a man, you need to be aiming for a minimum of 500 nanograms per deciliters testosterone, at an absolute minimum. And the first step to getting higher T levels is to get a blood test to know where you're at right now. I use a website called roidsafe.com.au, and I don't take steroids, but that's how difficult it actually is to get a proper blood test today when you go to a doctor, because most doctors now will say that you're too young and you don't need to get a blood test for your testosterone levels. But by using this website, you can get like an online doctor to prescribe it for you, and then you take it to the GP and you get your levels tested and they send it to you all online. So it's super easy to use. And then by getting your bloods done, you can progress your testosterone to see how much it's actually improving by it. So here's the 11 steps to supercharge your T levels completely natural. So step 1 is sleep. You need to be getting at least 8 hours every single night, no excuses. So it's when you're asleep, particularly in deep sleep, that testosterone is actually produced. It's when you're sleeping. So the better you sleep, the more T, which is able to be made by your body. Okay, so there's never ever an excuse to not sleep 8 hours if you want to have optimized testosterone levels. Ideally sleep in a dark, cold room, and ideally also track your sleep with something like a Whoop or a Oura Ring or something, just so you know how much sleep you're getting every single night and how much of that is actually deep sleep where your T is created. So secondly, you need to be eating enough calories. Food has the nutrients that build testosterone. Okay, so foods high in cholesterol and fat are essential. They literally make testosterone. So when there's this whole thing about cholesterol is bad for you and high fat diets are bad for you, if you're a man and you're eating a low fat diet and high carb and high protein, but low fat, your T levels will tank. Cholesterol and fat literally create testosterone. You need it. So guys, eggs are a superfood, red meat and cheese. If you eat these foods all the time and have a high fat diet, and also enough food to stay at maintenance or surplus, then your T will increase. Being in a deficit, which means eating less food than your body requires for maximum energy, will actually tank your testosterone levels in the long run. So the third step is lowering stress. Stress increases your cortisol, and this tanks your T levels. So rest and relaxation are actually testosterone boosters. So this is different from being lazy. It doesn't mean that you can just lay around on the couch and do nothing. This is intentional rest. So I'm talking about habits like breath work, even 15-minute power naps during the day, and walking in nature. Allowing your body to de-stress and allowing your cortisol levels to go down will increase your testosterone levels. Something that I love to always do is live somewhere peaceful. Living out in nature, where in the morning you wake up and you're amongst nature, you can get your feet on the earth first thing in the morning and not be in a noisy neighborhood. even little things like this, where you're de-stressing yourself over time, this will increase your testosterone levels. So next is direct sunlight. This is natural vitamin D, which is crucial for testosterone production. If you have low vitamin D, then you have low testosterone. So there are countless studies that back this. So they show that men that have higher vitamin D levels have higher testosterone levels. They're directly linked, directly correlated. Copious studies have found this. So you need to be aiming to get at least 30 minutes of direct sun with your shirt off on your skin every single day. Okay, so this will have a massive impact on boosting your testosterone, but also your mood, as it also creates more dopamine in your brain. So the next step is lifting heavy. So particularly compound movements like squats, bench press, overhead press, and pull-ups create a surge in testosterone. Basically any movements where a lot of muscle fibers are recruited all at the same time, your body views this as a demand for growth, strength, and power, and it will literally produce more testosterone, particularly in the 6 to 12 rep range, and doing this kind of heavy compound movements 3 to 4 times a week. But it's also important to note that overtraining will actually lead to more stress on your body, which increases higher cortisol, as I mentioned in the last one, which actually decreases your T. So you need to be lifting heavy, but only 3 to 4 times a week and not overtraining. So next up is semen retention. So holding onto your seed and not ejaculating for 3 days increases your T levels. Try it right now. Don't ejaculate for 3 days straight, and I guarantee that on the 3rd and 4th day, you'll feel different. So studies have shown that from days 7 to 10, your T can actually spike by up to 145%. So it's not a small increase, it can be a massive increase. And then after the 10th day, it returns back to normal. So what you can start implementing is strategically ejaculating once every 10 days and repeating that cycle. And this has multiple benefits beyond just your testosterone, because it also builds discipline and it builds confidence in yourself that you're able to control yourself and hold it in. So next up is boxing. So generally, competitive and explosive movements create a surge in T levels. So studies actually confirm that combat athletes have significantly higher test levels than any other athletes. It's just because they're always fighting, they're always competing, their body is demanding more testosterone to be made through the competition, and so it is that they have actually significantly higher T levels. Not just slightly higher than other athletes, significantly higher. So boxing and martial arts training 2 to 3 times a week will boost your T levels. Next, drink spring water. So tap water is poison. It's literally poison. It contains fluoride, heavy metals, and estrogenics, which disrupt your hormones. The long-term use of tap water will lower your sperm count, libido, and T levels. It is horrible stuff. So only ever drink spring water, and ideally even from glass bottles. I know that's hard to do, to drink it from glass bottles, but when you can, drink it from glass. But this is a non-negotiable. Never ever drink tap water, at least buy plastic bottled spring water. So next is avoiding BPA. So BPA is a chemical found in plastics, canned food, and especially receipts. And what it actually does is it mimics estrogen, which is the opposite of testosterone in your body. So men that are high in estrogen are usually those men that have like man boobs and excessive fat and their physiques look sloppy. You do not want estrogen. So also, most colognes, soaps, lotions are full of hormone disruptors. So make sure that you use natural lotions if you do that, natural body wash, or use none at all. I personally don't use shampoo. I don't use body wash at all because I know it's full of toxic chemicals and BPAs that disrupt my hormones. So reducing BPA leads to a cleaner testosterone signaling, which means your body has the ability to actually create more testosterone. And one thing to cover that I kind of passed quickly on earlier was that especially receipts. So receipts have super high BPA counts. Those receipts that you're at the supermarket and they come out, if you touch that, that is such a high concentration of BPA. And what it actually does is it goes straight through your skin into your bloodstream and will disrupt your hormones instantly. So never touch receipts, say no to receipts, or just do anything you can not to touch them basically. So next thing, and this is something that I've implemented recently, is not drinking coffee in the morning. So drinking coffee in the morning on an empty stomach actually nukes your gut, and it basically triggers cortisol, which is the stress hormone I was talking about earlier. So elevated cortisol equals more anxiety, lower T levels, and basically lethargy, meaning that you become more lethargic and tired feeling. So what you want to do is delay caffeine for 90 minutes after waking up, or have a light feed like a couple eggs or a high-fat snack in the morning before having coffee. I now personally prefer no coffee in the morning at all, and I'm drinking as minimal caffeine I can during the day, and I've never felt better. So next up is supplementation. Now, once you've done all of the above, then you can take supplements to help you with the essential nutrients that actually build testosterone. So the most important ones are zinc. So zinc literally supports T production. It blocks estrogen, and it's also good for your semen. Magnesium is incredible for your sleep, and it frees up bound testosterone to be available for your body to use. Vitamin D, as I talked about earlier, is essential to get sunlight on your skin. But if you don't get a lot of sun, you need to be supplementing with vitamin D, at least 5,000 IU per day. You need a lot of vitamin D. And also vitamin K2, which helps the absorption of vitamin D. These will boost your T levels. Tonga Ali is a shrub from Indonesia or somewhere in Asia, and this is a very popular T booster. It's natural, it's good for you, and it boosts your free testosterone levels. Boron is another one that boosts your T levels. Ashwagandha, which is an optional one, this one actually lowers your stress levels. So it's a bit of an optional one. It lowers your stress, which means that your T is able to go up. That being said, what it can do is kind of blunt your mood and not make your moods go, so you can't feel as much. So it kind of makes your mood evened out a little bit. So you can use that one to lower stress, but only for short periods of time do I find it to be effective. But taking all of these daily will increase your T levels, guaranteed. So to summarize, guys, the foundation of really increasing your T levels and getting above that 500 nanograms per deciliters mark is firstly sleeping a minimum of 8 hours. That is an absolute must, non-negotiable. That's when your T is actually created. Secondly, eating high fat, eating enough food that actually has the nutrients that your body uses to convert into testosterone. Thirdly, lowering your stress. Chronic stress is the worst thing that you can have for your testosterone levels. You need to do anything you can to de-stress. The less stress you have, the longer you live too. Fourthly, direct sun, vitamin D every single day, non-negotiable. If you can't get direct sun, then take a vitamin D supplement. I personally spend at least 1 to 2 hours in the sun, direct sun every single day, and that's when I feel the best. And lastly, lift heavy. You need to be doing explosive movements that signals your body and your muscles to create testosterone to become more dominant. These guys are the foundations to really boost your T levels. If you just do these things, that's all you need to do for your testosterone to skyrocket, particularly if you have low testosterone. And then once you do all of these and you want that extra 1%, let's say that these foundations will do the 90% of the work, and these extras can add you that little 10% boost at the end. So that's semen retention, boxing, drinking spring water, avoiding BPAs and plastics, no coffee in the morning, and then take those sups that really can compound all of this, guys. That's a wrap for this video, guys. Go out there and implement these things and you will see results, I guarantee it. So as always, a reminder, your future self is counting on you. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.